I don't know how I'm really supposed to express about you all wanting to get the house.
Uh-huh.
How is that going to help the homeowners and the taxpayers here? We must not ignore that we still have serious lawsuits here. God, I'm coming one of it, and I actually have been trying to the residents to do an out-of-court settlement.
She's actually one of the people involved in the lawsuits. Yep, she's one of the folks suing the village and still hasn't been paid. So now she's popped up saying, I don't really know about y'all buying this house. We still got people out here waiting on money. And listen, before we even get into it, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, share the video, and drop a comment below. I want to hear what y'all think about this one. So the village of Dolton held a meeting, and the whole thing centered around them buying the childhood home of the newly appointed pope, the first American pope in all of history on, yes. He came out of Dolton. That's the claim to fame now, the meeting. It was mostly about voting on the purchase and breaking down the reasons why. Cool. But the person who came up to speak, that's where things got interesting. Now before we get to her, a news reporter gave the scoop. She said the village is officially taking possession of the Pope's childhood home after cutting a deal with 2 developers who bought and rehabbed the property long before the Pope ever got his title. Roofers were even out there that day putting a new roof on the house free of charge, thanks to Wendy's City Construction. They volunteered. But the village board is set to vote on actually buying the home. And here's the thing, they won't release the price until closing next week. All we know is it'll be way more than the $199,000 the developers originally asked for before the Pope news dropped. But way less than the million they were hoping for at auction. Remember? The ownership of this house was already heading to court. The village had threatened to use eminent domain to take it. That alone raised eyebrows. Like, are they really going to pull eminent domain over this? I mean, can't they just declare it a historic landmark? Isn't that a thing? Y'all let me know in the comments, but I'm pretty sure there are rules where once something's marked historic, can't be knocked down or demolished. Like, people can still own it, but there are restrictions. It just felt odd for the village to threaten to take it like that. Sure, they'd have to purchase it anyway, but the threat, that rubbed me the wrong way. Anyway, according to the owners, that threat wasn't even legal. So this new deal is a compromise that avoids a long court fight and locks the home in for the village at a more manageable cost. Tourists and Catholics have already been flocking to the house. Even on the day of the meeting, people were stopping by. The Pope lived there with his family back in the 60s and 70s. Now the village wants to turn the block into a full historic district. But then comes this clip. A woman takes the mic at the meeting and says she's against the purchase. But when she starts explaining, White gets messy. She opens with this long, awkward intro. You can tell she's nervous. She says something about stories in the community and interacting with people, then brings up a hypothetical about a bank and defaulting on the property, which leads to asking if there will be any revenue from the house. Then she shifts and asks how this will help the taxpayers. And she casually drops that there are still serious lawsuits happening. Now, she's rambling a bit, probably because she's nervous. But I think the real reason there starts peeking through. She says she wants to know how the house helps homeowners and taxpayers, but the answer is obvious. It's a tourist attraction. That's the whole reason they want it. You ever heard of Disneyland? People visit to see a castle and then they spend crazy money on everything around it. That's the model. Same thing here, people come to see the Pope's house. And then money starts moving through the area. It brings business. But she's acting like that's not obvious. Then, surprised, she tells us she's one of the people involved in the lawsuits. She's suing the village and hasn't been paid. So now she's saying, I don't think this house deal is smart. We still got to pay people like me. Oh, so now we get it. That's the real reason she's speaking up. It's giving major conflict of interest. Imagine someone owes you money, and instead of paying you, you see them out buying their kid new shoes. You might walk up and say, I don't think that kid needs shoes. But really, you just want your $20. That's what this is. She says it's not about that, but that's exactly what it sounds like. She's acting like she's trying to protect the village's finances, but we all know she's mad because she's still waiting on her check. And honestly, it showed. You could hear the nerves in her voice. Her words were jumbled. She said, hi, I'm coming one of them. Like what? I meant to say, I'm one of the people suing, but it came out all wrong. It's nerves. That's what happens when you try to call someone out while knowing you're part of the problem. Bottom line. You can't come up there talking about financial responsibility when your real motive is a personal payout. That's not about the people. That's not about the community. That's about you. The reality is, if they clean this up, build around it, add some shops, maybe even a hotel, then boom, you've got a full-on attraction. People will visit. Money will flow. Revenue will come. That's the plan. They even bought another house on the same street just to fix it up, because it's all about how the area looks now. It's about presentation. It's about building something people want to come see. That right there should tell you this project could actually bring something good to this town. But y'all don't want that. No, y'all would rather everything stay broken down and embarrassing so people like Cassie can keep riding around filming raggedy houses for content. That's the energy. Y'all would rather let the dysfunction continue, pass it on to the next generation, than fix something now. And then here comes this lady talking about her little lawsuit, and then it keeps going. Something about legislative, executive, administrative roles. What? Then she shifts to the sewers. Yes, the sewers. She says she talked to a woman, and now a sewer has completely moved. The sewer moved? Where did it go? Like, what are we talking about? This whole speech was just chaos, if she really wanted. To be real, she should have just walked in and said, "Hey, can y'all cut me a check? I got a lawsuit. I see money flying around. Can I get mine?" Instead, we get this dramatic performance about ghosts, sewer systems, and how nobody should have anything nice until she gets hers. She had people laughing not because it was funny, but because it was sad. This is what happens when selfishness takes the mic. You end up rambling about moving sewers and invisible employees, while the rest of the town is trying to grow. And now she wants to speak about the street cleaner, says we need money for printing. But if we could just move the cars for 5 minutes, the cleaner could do its job. She's bouncing from sewers to street sweepers to fans for the fire department. Now she's asking folks to donate fans to the firehouse. Then she brings up the leash land, says she doesn't want to tell people she wants to kick their dogs. What even is that? And then she ends with, "Come on now." That's the bottom line. That's her grand finale. After all that, nonsenses, moving, ghosts, cashing checks, kicking dogs, she just ends with, "Come on now." 12 straight minutes of nothing. Just chaos. But thank God the trustees didn't fall for it. This lady tried to pull some real crabs in a barrel energy. You know the kind? If I can't have it, nobody else can. That was her whole thing. Not going to help pull anyone up until I get mine. That right there, that's the problem. It's exactly what holds towns back. Fortunately, they weren't fooled. They moved forward. And shortly after, Dolton Mayor Jason House confirmed it. He said they made the right move for the taxpayers. Said it honors the archdiocese and benefits the village overall. He's right, it's a treasure. And here's the best part. The village isn't even dropping a huge lump sum. They're working with Wintrust Bank to finance the house, basically treating it like a mortgage. The bank buys it. The village pays it off annually. Smart. And they're also buying another house at the end of the block that's falling apart. To fix up, as part of the bigger plan to create a historic district, they believe rightfully so, that people from all over the world will come to see this home. Live from Dolton. That's Dane Placco reporting. So yes, they pulled the trigger, and thank God they did. Because if you let something this obvious a blessing slip through your hands, maybe you deserve to be sitting in that sewer that lady claimed moved on its own. Not me, though. Not doing that job. I'm not going in no disappearing sewer. But y'all go ahead, because I believe in you. Mama believes in you. And Mama loves you. Peace.